Hello, and today we are judging the 2019 AIPP Epsom Victoria and Tasmania Professional Photography Awards in the wedding category, who is sponsored by Nikon. Yay. Thank you, Nikon. My name is Natasha Ward, and I will be your panel chair for this session. I have Luca, who is going to be our scribe, and thank you to our crew and print handlers in the back. Our judging panel consists of, we have Emily Black, Jacinta Delbin, Karen Alsop, Maro Cantolini, and Dean Mansbridge. This category is for wedding photography that represents industry practice, including but not limited to creative posing, photojournalism, post-production, storytelling, and image presentation. The wedding category will be judged in two sections. We have wedding open and wedding single capture. So entries into this category must be commissioned. They must be captured during or on the day of the client's actual wedding or civil union. The only exemption is to accommodate cultural differences where the wedding runs over consecutive days. Second shooters who have been contracted by the main photographer and or the subjects may enter their images, providing they have retained the copyright or usage rights for this image. Second shooters must have the permission of the main photographer to enter the images, and second shooters may not enter an image where the main photographer directed or posed the subjects. So polytrips, I can't even pronounce it, triptychs, and are permitted in both of the wedding category sections. So wedding category open, which I believe is what we are starting with today, is entrants may utilise all post-production techniques, including multiple images or elements, in producing their entry. If several photographic elements are used, all the elements must have been taken at the same wedding or civil union, with the exemption of borders and textures. So is everybody ready? All right.
No, they're not ready.
No, I got that.
They're not ready.
While we just wait one moment, let's ask our panel of esteemed judges to introduce themselves, starting with Dean at the end.
Well, hello everybody. My name's Dean Mansbridge. My name has been pronounced correctly every time so far today. Not Mainsbridge, not Mansfield, not Bainesfield. So thank you everyone who said my name. I come from Tasmania. I know I photograph largely children and families and pets, etc. And I have shot a lot of weddings, so I still do belong in this room, just for those questioning. And this is
Dean.
Maro, whose last name is...
Can Tell Me. There you go.
Thank you, Maro.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maro Can Tell Me, and I can tell you many things, and that's including the fact I've been photographing weddings for 30 years, and my studio is in the trendy part of Melbourne, which is called Fitzroy. Very proud to be in Fitzroy, the capital of art in Melbourne. And yes, I'll pass you on now to Karen.
Hey, so I'm Karen Alsop. I'm the pet animal photographer of the year at the moment, but I did photograph weddings for over a decade, so finished up in 2014, but certainly was in the wedding photography industry for a long time, so looking forward to judging.
Hello, I'm Jacinta Delbin, and I am a portrait newborn family pet photographer from Melbourne. Been doing that now for probably a little bit close, coming up to 10 years. So yeah, there you go.
Yay.
Hey, I'm Emily Black. Emily Black. I'm the short black. I enjoy long blacks.
Okay, Emily.
As in the coffee. Just to clarify. I have been in the photography industry for about 20 odd years, and I began as a press photographer. I shot weddings for a while, I shoot families, I shoot landscapes. So yeah, that's me. And bumps, baby bumps.
And bumps.
After the wedding comes the baby.
Thank you, Emily. Now, it's just going to be a couple more minutes till we get started. So does anyone remember where their favourite travel destination was? That we all got asked. Dean, take it away.
I think the question is, where would you like to go?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, because mine was Azerbaijan,
Oh, nice.
because it's a really fun word to say. You guys should try it, yeah. And I have no idea where it is. It's Azerbaijan. I see it on Eurovision every year because I'm a bit of a Eurovision geek. So, sorry. Yes, come
I
on.
love it.
Awesome. So, Azerbaijan, that was mine.
Thank you. And we're actually going to get started with the wedding category. I'm sorry,
that's a
Mara.
shame. Oh, I did want to.
We'll hold
At
that.
the end, we'll say that.
We'll hold it at the end. Remind me. Okay, great. So we are now ready for the wedding category, and this is wedding open. Just as a reminder for everybody. So can I please have the first print? This print scores 78. Can I get a comment, please, from Dean?
Beautifully composed image, I think. That was quite striking upon first visit. I think it's just suffering from a little bit too much contrast. Our whites are so blown out in the collar and the shirt, and black's disappearing to nothing. It was a bit disappointing. So definite credit and professional practice, but could be elevated with those points.
Great, thank you very much. And next print, please. This print scores 79. Can I get a comment from Maro, please?
When this image turned, the colour palette was something that attracted me immediately. Looking at the photograph from a distance, I sort of felt that it was a little bit lost, the photograph or the bride and groom being quite far away, and the way it's been backlit, if it was sort of, concentrating on the bride and groom so they could stand out a little bit more, would work better, but the light has spilled onto the glass behind them, and that really distracts from the image, so I had to look super, super close. With all that said, it's a good quality standard image and definitely professional standard.
Thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 81. I believe we have a challenge from Karen. Please take it away.
I think this print deserves to go higher. I've scored it 87, and the reason for that is that the tonality is quite different to what I would normally see in a wedding photograph. It's got that matte finish. The characters are positioned perfectly in front of the pillars so that they stand out. They're framed. The moment, the veil, the way that it is flowing up in the wind, just everything about it. And it looks amazing from a distance, and it looks amazing close up. The symmetry. It is a wonderful wall print for this couple. It's quite exquisite, so I encourage you to come up.
I'd like a comment from Dean, please, at the lower end there.
Yeah, I am at the lower end. I think I felt a bit of confusion with the scale here. The bride seems minuscule in proportion to the groom when we look up close, and I don't know if she's a little bit further back. They seem on the same focal plane. It could be a posing thing and an angles thing that's messing with my head a little bit there, but she seemed unrealistically tiny, and she could be extremely petite, and maybe that's legit. I suppose the jarring thing for me was the way that they're contrasting with the very matte background. I think they were just like sticking out a little bit, which I think is just due to the treatment being a bit heavy-handed. So I did have it in the professional practice range, but had it just below award, but I'm more than willing to listen to my fellow judges.
All right, thanks. And I'd also like to take a comment from Jacinta, who's not far, a little bit closer.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Dean said, but the other thing that was is the placement of the doors. We've got the second door from the right is going right into the pillar, whereas on the other side it's not. So it's just that was the one door that was throwing me off a little. If this is the open category, that's something that we may have been able to rectify in post-production. And there's just something on the back of her dress also that was sort of standing out.
Great. And Karen?
Okay, so in regards to the size, they look about the same size as my brother and sister-in-law in terms of the contrast there. So I think quite likely that might be the case, that she's petite and he's tall. And the difference in the doors, sometimes we look for such symmetry. We want, a perfect image and we Photoshop it until it's absolutely perfect. This is showing that this has been shot on location. Changing it and Photoshopping it so that everything is exactly the same may actually detract from the fact that this is a real place. So and the treatment there, I think they look quite three-dimensional, and I love that about it. So still encourage you to come up.
Great. And if judges, can you please rescore? All except for Karen, who holds her score. This print scores 82 silver. Thank you, judges, for the great debate. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores a silver award at 81. Can I get a comment, please, from Maro?
What a fairy tale for a wedding photograph. The narrative is amazing. Obviously, the lighting coming through the window. There's a lot of elements there that you normally wouldn't see in wedding photography, and implementing other styles into into this image has really worked well for the photographer. Congratulations.
Great, thank you. And on that note, I'm going to do a judge change. Mara, if you would mind stepping off, and Andrew Esposito is going to join us. Right, and great. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 79. Can I get a comment from Karen, who's right on the average?
It's high professional practice. It's well done, well thought out, with the characters blurring around them and them just sitting there enjoying themselves together. So well done.
Thank you. And next print, please. Thank you. So for those of you listening at home, we've just had a judge step off and Christian's going to judge this print for us. This print scores a silver award at 82. Can I get a comment from Dean?
I think it was really strong because of the authentic expressions that we can see in all of the subjects here and the unique little use of the mirror. It's not perfect. There's some faces that we can't see, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, beautifully well captured and probably well created moment. So excellent order.
Great, thank you, Dean. And thank you, Christian. And Andrew can step back in. And next print, please. This print scores 78. And can I get a comment from Jacinta, please?
Yeah, this sits well in the professional practice range. I would like to be more focusing on the wedding band, but to me, I'm looking at the watch, which I know could be the time of the day, but it just needs a little bit more, and it's quite flat too, so adding a little bit more contrast and punch would probably help it along a bit more.
Great. Thank you. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment from Andrew, please?
I thought it was a beautiful image when it turned, and given to the palette that's been used, to the softness to add to the romanticism in the couple having a gorgeous kiss. I thought it was worthy of a silver.
Thank you, Andrew. Next print, please. This print scores 80, Silver Award. Karen, can I get a comment from you on what might be improved to get a little bit higher?
Yeah, it is a beautiful portrait. She's well positioned and looking out the window there. I just felt the wide angle nature of it and the pull of the picture that's on the right hand side being distorted like that was pulling away from the image. So whether that could be looked at, that might bring it higher.
Thank you very much, Karen. And next print, please. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Jacinta?
Really clever concept. It's very clever. The thing that's sort of bringing it down a little bit, I think, is the highlights, especially on the dress, and the whites in the background is really strong. So toning that down.
Great, thank you. Now we're going to have a quick judge change before the next print. So Andrew, could you please, thank you for your time, and Christian, is that correct? But just please. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment, please, from Emily?
There's a beautiful subtlety to this image in the tonal range. I think something's just been a little bit lost between the connection between the bride and groom.
Thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 79. Can I get a comment, please, from Christian?
The shapes are beautiful with the mirroring of the background with the subject and the line of the arm with the shape of the building in the background. But I feel the print could have been a little bit brighter in the background or brought up some highlights in it.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Jacinta?
Yeah, I just think this one, it just feels a little bit staged and there's connection loss between the left side to the right side. It just doesn't really blend well. Plus, there's no real focal point in the actual subjects themselves. It's quite soft.
Thank you very much. Next print, please. This print scores Silver Award 82. Can I get a comment from Karen?
This is a really beautiful and soft moment, the way that the little girl is holding onto that dress and maybe thinking about her future wedding, or who knows what she's dreaming of. But it's well composed and beautiful soft light, so well done on the silver.
Great, thanks, Karen. Next print, please. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment from Dean?
Sure. I struggled with the colour toning through this. I think it doesn't seem to convey the same mood that the pose and the lighting and the composition does. So there's a bit of a conflict there. I can't help but wonder whether we would be able to connect more with the subject if she was turning into the light as opposed to away from it to illuminate her face a little bit more. So potentially, but it's a beautiful subject matter and composition and place, but could be explored better in the future.
Thank you, Dean. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores Silver Award 83. Can I get a comment from Emily, please?
What a beautiful, genuine reaction and emotion that's coming from that bride. The printing has been handled beautifully, and I congratulate the photographer on a beautiful capture.
Thank you, Emily. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment from Christian, please?
I love the idea. I think it works well with the cropping and the placement, the smoke. Little things like the framing with the watch on the edge, the fingers, just make it a little messy to look at with the design.
Thank you for that. And we're going to do a judge change for Emily Black. I'm going to put Mara in there. Just a moment while I sort out the computer. Great. And next print, please. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment, please, from Karen on how they can improve?
Yeah, it's well composed, and the veil up and everything looks beautiful. I'm just not feeling the connection again between the bride and groom. I'd love to see a bit more of that connection in the image. So, thanks.
Thanks, Karen. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 76. Can I please get a comment from Maro on 74?
Thank you very much. When the image first turned, the high key, the white and the graphicness, the impact was of a good standard there. However, as I got a little bit closer, the spill from the spotlight hitting the groom's face just didn't sort of work with the mood of the naturalness of the bride and groom walking across the image. If the photographer's in the room or is listening, it's quite important to make sure that if the lighting is a little bit more even, you'll find that you'll be able to create a better mood.
Great. Thank you very much. And next print, please. This print scores 72. And can I get a comment, please, from Dean?
I think it would be made stronger if you used this well-found environment with a bit more symmetry with the couple. So it is within the range of professional practice, but had they been evenly within the window panes, I think that's one of the first things that probably started holding us back. So revisit that would be great.
Great, thanks, Dean. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores a silver award 81. Can I get a comment, please, from Christian?
Beautiful with I suppose the whole look of the just with the almost the outline with a pencil and just grabbing the important parts of an image. I love just the subtle quality of all the greys, and it all just works. It reminds me of a shell, and she's intertwined with the shell. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 79. Can I get a comment, please, from Maro?
Good old Flinders Street. Never looked so good. Looking at the image overall, I guess the image itself, looking at the group of people in the bridal party, the image could have been captured just that little bit better if there was less depth of field. I just felt that getting in close, looking at the people were getting lost in the streetscape. So, my advice to this photographer, I would have brought it up an extra point if we had sort of more of a focus point on the bridal party, because they are a small part of the image. It could have served a bit more of a purpose there. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment, please, from Christian?
The symmetry is exceptional. In regards to the couple, the guy is very flat-footed, and if they maybe just were leaning in more and just working with the couple in the posing to just bring out a bit more aesthetic with them would be probably elevating it a bit more.
Great, thank you. Next print, please. Just a reminder for those listening at home, we're currently judging the Wedding Open category, who is sponsored by the lovely people at Nikon. Thank you, Nikon. And thank you, judges. And the score is 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Karen?
Strong professional practice, some great end of wedding moments there with the characters possibly a bit drunk. The fill flash on the subjects is pretty strong, so I encourage the photographer to look at maybe some different methods of lighting.
Thank you, Karen. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. Great, and this print scores a silver award 82. Can I get a comment, please, from Christian?
The way the image is cropped with the swerve through with the waves is exceptional. The way it's sort of just caught where it's just meeting her dress with the white and like it's an extension of her dress is just really grabs me. I love it.
Thank you. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment, please, from Jacinta?
Concept, the way that this has been constructed. I think probably what's letting it down is it is quite flat in the print itself, and I'm struggling to find a focal point. It is like there's no sharp point, especially in the faces. So maybe revisit and see if you've got any other frames to use.
Thank you. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. So this print by average scores 79, but by majority scores 80 silver award. Can I please get a comment from Maro on how to improve this image?
Well, firstly, congratulations to the photographer. Silver, great image. looking at the image and looking at the wardrobe of the bride, I think the image in black and white probably would have served its purpose a little bit better. Just the grey tones, as you can see, although it's a colour image, it's almost black and white. So I think if the photographer could have implemented the black and white into this, I think I would have brought it up a couple of points.
Thank you for that. And next print, please. This print scores 78. I do believe, Dean, that we're going to go for a challenge. Perfect. Take it away.
I'm going to challenge. We're due for a chat, aren't we? Let's wake up. Let's get into it. I was struck initially upon first viewing of this print by the shape of this upside-down pear, almost an upside-down love heart shape that's created by the curvature in the trees in there. This is a technically difficult lighting environment to be able to photograph a couple in and retain detail throughout the whole scene, and I think they've done a really good job of that. And we are witnessing a beautiful, what I believe to be an organic connection between the couple here in what is a true moment. So I think it's worth re-looking at this. The print quality, I believe, is worthy of a silver award as well. So let's have another look, see if we can stretch ourselves a point or two and consider it for a silver.
Great. Thank you. And next, I'm going to go at the other end. Maro, can I get a comment from you, please?
Thank you. Dean, I hear what you're saying, mate. Game of Thrones out as well. That's what I thought immediately at the start. Definitely right about the printing. Definitely right about the lighting and the perspective. As I got in a little bit closer, though, I do feel that has been posed. I didn't feel it was it was a natural moment. And the way the bride has her head tilted outwards just shows her jawline, and the way she's being kissed, it's like she's not wanting the kiss, she's pulling right back. And I just sort of felt if you're going to pose someone, we all know if we're going to pose, we've got to pose accordingly. So that's the only thing that sort of took me away from the genuine moment. And as you mentioned, Dean, being from Tasmania as well, I can definitely see the organic side coming out of this shot too, because you're a bit more in tune with your environment.
Thank you, Maro. I know Karen wants to say a word.
I do. I'm on 78 at the moment. I do like this mystical feel. I would love to have seen this in colour. I feel like the colour tone is a little dated with the browns, but that's personal preference probably. But I would love to see this in colour. I just feel it'd be a whole lot stronger. But if you can let me know why it needs to be in black and white toned brown, then let me know.
Sounds like you've got some work to do, Dean. Please. It's your turn. Yes.
Good. I refuse to speak without a microphone. Some say timeless instead of dated. Sometimes in this environment, like I mentioned, it can be challenging. Potentially there were garish greens and things like that and colour casts going onto the subjects, which could really detract from them. So I can imagine, with only seeing the one we've got here, not seeing anything else, that there may have been challenges overcome by stripping it back and going with the simplicity of a beautiful timeless colour tone. So that's where I sit with that, and I implore you guys to revisit, and if you're open enough to pushing this into the silver range, I'm sure the photographer and I would both thank you.
Thank you for that, Dean. If everybody else can please rescore, Dean holds his score at 83. And what a lovely job from everybody. This print now scores silver 80. Congratulations to the author and great work, guys. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Jacinta?
Yeah, I think probably what this image has probably been overhandled. We're losing quite a bit of detail in the hairline of the subject, and he's blending into the background. And the facial tonal range is quite saturated, so probably revisit that and bring in a bit of texture from his suit as well.
Great, thank you for that. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Dean?
Thank you. The couple are competing and competing with the background there. They're right in a busy intersection of window or door or something. Had they been moved a little bit to the right where the doorway's dark, they would have stood out a lot more and that would have been more pleasing to the eye. The perspective on the tilt in the building too is drawing away and being a bit distracting, but there's a beautiful mood that's been captured in the sky and with the lighting on the subject. So there's some great things to keep it in the professional practice range.
Great, thank you for that. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores a silver award at 80. I'd like a comment from Karen on how they could improve this, please.
Yeah, it's a well composed moment there. There's a bit of extra light on the front of the dress that blends into the building there. Perhaps some masking of brightening up that's gone over the edge. So if the photographer can just carefully look at the retouching on this, possibly bring it higher.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 77. Can I please get a comment from Christian?
The placement of the couple within the frame works well. I feel that she could have bent the wrist a little bit more, just for a bit more aesthetic, and I feel like maybe she could be also looking at the groom as well for a bit more connection.
Thank you, Christian. this is actually our last image of the wedding open category. We're about to go straight into the single capture category. Can I just get a blank screen for a second? Thank you. So thank you guys. Yep. So for those playing at home, we are judging the 2019 AIPP Epsom Victorian and Tasmanian Professional Photography Awards, the wedding category sponsored by Nikon. I am still Natasha Ward and I still will be your panel chair for this part of the judging. And I have the lovely Ruja as my scribe. Today, our judging panel, we are starting with I'm going to get them to introduce themselves to start with. So, Mara, you're first up. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Maro Cantelmi, and I am a wedding photographer based in Melbourne, Australia. I have been photographing weddings for over 30 years, and I spend a good portion of my time overseas and photograph weddings. And I come from Melbourne in Fitzroy, the suburb. I've had my studio there for, believe it or not, 20 years now.
Thanks, Mara.
No worries.
And Emily.
Hi. Am I introducing myself again?
Just quickly, yes.
I'm Emily. I'm on the AIPP Council in Victoria. And Karen.
Right.
Sorry, that was Emily Black.
That was Emily Black. Yes. I'm Karen. I used to be a wedding photographer. Once got bitten on the bottom by jumping jacks while I was photographing a wedding, and that hurt.
Sorry, Kaz, what was your surname again?
Also.
That was very loud laugh in the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Christian Piccoli. I'm a portrait photographer, and I've been photographing for 20 years, and I work in Richmond, Melbourne.
Thanks, Christian. And
Matt Palmer. I do a lot of landscape, travel, documentary kind of photograph on a kind of project basis. But weddings was my bread and butter for a long time, so I'm looking forward to it.
great, thank you. And I just realised that I've been slack here and not done all the updates, so that's fine. And can everyone just check that their names are at the top of their judging so that you're all good? Just at the top of the screen. I haven't put anybody in the wrong spot. You guys ready out the back? Yep. Sweet. So let's get this started. Sorry, I should continue the preamble, shouldn't I? So just as a reminder, this category is for wedding photography that represents industry practice, including but not limited to creative posing, photojournalism, post-production, Storytelling and image presentation. The wedding category will be judged in 2 sections. We've just completed the wedding open and we're about to start on the wedding single capture. This category is judged in these 2 sections to help the judges in their assessment. However, there is only one award. The category entries into this category must be commissioned. They must be captured during or on the day of the client's actual wedding or civil union. The only exception is to accommodate cultural differences where the wedding runs over consecutive days. Second shooters who have been contracted by the main photographer and or the subjects may enter their images providing they have retained the copyright or usage rights for the images. Second shooters must have the permission of the main photographer to enter the images. Second shooters may not enter an image where the main photographer directed or posed the subjects, and of course polytrips and triptychs and all those things are also permitted in both these sections. So wedding single capture. This section is intended to reward technical and creative excellence in photographing and representing an authentic representation of a scene without the benefit of creative compositing techniques. Photojournalistic images may be suited to either single capture section of the wedding category or the documentary category if they conform to the category rules. Great, so let's get started. First print in wedding single capture, please. Wow, so the average on this print was 78. However, by majority, this print scores a silver 80. Can I get a comment, please, from Maro, who's just a little bit lower on ways they can improve this?
When the image turned around, I just felt it was just a little bit flat for me. It lacked a little bit of direction. I can see that the photographer has photographed through the veil, so that's a great idea, and I love the mood in the photograph. Also, the round matting really topped off that very old school charm. But if I had to improve, I feel that it just needed a little bit more of a kick in the tonal quality.
Thank you, Maro. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 73. Can I get a comment, please, from Matt?
It's a solid professional standard capture, and I think for the people that are viewing it as a client, they're going to understand more about these people than we do. For me as a viewer, I'm kind of missing what the story is, what they're reacting to within the photograph, and so if that story was included, that would have helped a lot.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Maro on 78?
Boys will be boys. How many times I've gone to a wedding and I've seen, young kids run amok, and you're trying to pose them with grandma, and they just don't want to pay attention. And this is exactly what I see here. Beautiful moment. The way to improve this image is probably a little bit too contrasty for my liking. You can sort of see the blacks blending in with the subjects. If we could improve again on the toning and the printing, I definitely would have given this a silver.
Thank you for that. And next print, please. This print scores 79. Can I get a comment, please, from Karen?
It could have gone higher. I'm not sure whether the photographer had more room to move here, but just the wide angle nature of the image pulled me back from going higher. It was very distorted at the bottom, but perhaps that was a limitation in where the photographer could stand, but well done.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment from Karen? Oh, sorry. There's a challenge from Karen on 82.
Yeah, this is different. This is really different for a wedding photo. It's obviously the perspective and the angle that it's taken from, the detail in the grass that they're lying on, the moment, the connection between the couple. It really stands out, and I encourage you to come up to at least a silver, because we're looking at something that is beyond just professional practice. The photographer's gone out of the way to get that angle, to get up high. The way even that the grass is sort of flowing out to the left and to the right, and the way the couple are positioned there, and the framing of it, I think it's really well done, and it deserves a silver.
Thank you. And can I get a comment from, hold that one, Emily. I'm going to get from the other end. Matt, please.
I saw a lot of what you saw in the photograph, and I think there's actually a beautiful tonality in the grassland that they've used as the backdrop here. For me, the highlights are just too far blown in important places, and not just the obvious one on the dress that takes away from the elegance of the shape of the dress, but also there's a bit of a highlight on the guy's belly as well, which I think is not quite flattering. And if those could be brought back a bit, and I don't know that the dress could be, but other aspects could be, then I think that would certainly help it a lot.
Thank you. And Emily, I'll get a comment from you too, please.
This is so close. I love the moment. I love it. Single capture. I really want to see the bride's face. It's almost there. It's definitely professional practice.
Thanks. And Karen, you've got a bit of work to do.
All right, how far do we have to go? Well, yes, there's blown out highlights there, and yes, you've got a white dress there, but again, single capture, the detail in the grass is there, and looking at it from here, those blown out highlights, I'm going out on a limb here, really help to bring the attention to the bride and groom and to make them the centre focal point, where our eye is drawn. And I think for this one, we've always got images in wedding where you see the bride's face and you don't see the groom's face. Here we see the groom's face, and it's great. There's character in that face. And maybe we don't see the bride's face, but we are connecting with one of those people in that image and seeing it. And I just think, let's score it accordingly and bring it up to silver.
Great. Thank you. And rescore judges. Print scores 79. Good try, guys. So thank you for the debate. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. Ooh, so the average of this is 79. However, by majority, the scores a silver award, 80. And for anyone listening at home or in the room, what that means is that 3 or more judges have scored this print in a silver range. So congratulations to the author. Can I get a comment, though, from one of our judges on how they could improve it? Matt?
Yeah, I think there's a beautiful tonality here, especially in the surroundings. Like the staircase and the walls themselves are actually just quite beautiful by themselves. In terms of lifting it for me, I wanted a little bit more connection with the bride, which is perhaps choosing a lower perspective or some way of photographing the staircase where we can get a little bit more face. But I think, it's fantastic that you've won this award, and there's a lot of good things going for it.
Great, thank you. Now we are going to do a couple of judges' changes. I'm going to ask Andrew to step in for Maro. And Jacinta, would you like to join us instead of Emily is going to take a break, please? Or maybe I need to change you guys around. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys. And next print, please. This print scores 76. Can I please get a comment from Jacinta?
Beautiful capture. The one thing I think is letting it down, well, a couple of things, is I think it's been overworked, over sharpened, and then the highlights are just really blown out, especially in the dress and the bridesmaids. So see what you can do with that one.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 76. Can I please get a comment from Matt?
I think there's potential here for like this very nice ethereal transitional moment, but I think a lot of it's lost in the handling of the file. There's a lot of shadows missing and that kind of thing, and also perhaps the highlights are a little bit too strong. I don't know what was in the highlight area. Maybe it was very distracting out there and it was a deliberate choice to blow them out so that we could have this clean silhouette. But yeah, just those technical things are holding it back.
Great, thank you. And can I get a blank screen for 1 second, please? I believe there's just a technical issue at the back, so just give me 1 moment. How about you guys have a lovely, I'd love to hear from each of you about where it is that you would like to, what was the travel question? Does anyone remember? Where you would like to travel to? Starting with Matt. Thanks.
I can't actually remember what I answered, but there's a lot of places I'd like to travel. Probably one of my favourite places that I have gone to, so I can actually give an educated opinion about it, would be Iceland, which is, of course, the great landscape travel cliche at the moment. But I feel like I've got some unfinished business there, having done a photo series on abandoned homes in Iceland. So I definitely need to go back there and actually finish my job.
For me, it'd be going to Japan, which I've never been, but would really enjoy the experience. I think it's something that I've heard so much good things about with the culture, the people, and all the different customs that they've got. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
So you took mine because everyone says Japan's the place to go. I'm talking. Yeah, Japan. Everyone just goes to Japan and then they see how wonderful it is. So, yeah, I think I want to go there.
I've got 2. I'd probably want to go to Sri Lanka and Morocco would be my places that I'd like to visit to see the different culture and all the colour and vibrancy.
Mine would have to be in Italy and Naples. Naples is probably one of the biggest cities Italy's got. It's full of crime. so if you go to the street, you need to kind of survive. And every person in the street will give you something. And hopefully I'll have my camera to capture the street and the people who live there, which is so full of life. And if that doesn't work, I get killed.
Oh, that's a lovely tone to take. What was that? No, I would love to hear a quick story, Matt. Please take it away.
Okay, since we brought up Japan, I travelled there a few years ago and I drove in some parts of Japan because they were out of the whole system of transport. And I'd summarise the Japanese culture in one story, and that's that I was driving through a toll gate and I was under the understanding that I had one of the little beeper things so I could go through automatically, the gate would open and I'd keep going. And of course the rental car people didn't speak English, so we were talking over a phone to various translators. And anyway, I get to the gate, it doesn't open, and I start apologising in Japanese through the speaker without being able to elaborate on what was going wrong at all. And the ticket inspector just came out very calmly, collected my coins, and worked it all out. And everybody in the vehicles behind us, including like a Japanese vision of tradies, were just sitting there with their arms crossed, very politely, just waiting. And I was thinking, if I was in Australia, I would be getting so much abuse right now. So very friendly people.
Yes, they are. It's one of my favourite places too, Japan, and Italy actually is. No, actually, I'm a huge fan of Tuscany and the little villages outside Florence. So, what can I say? Have we got anybody else got anything else that they'd like to talk about while we're still waiting for a couple minutes? Dean wants to. All right, Dean. It's been a little quiet.
When you guys go to Japan, right, you got to go to this place called Naoshima Island. It's in the inland sea, the Seto Sea. You can get there from lots of places, Okayama, I think. It's a whole island that's like got art galleries everywhere. So there's amazing architecture in the galleries. And we saw this, I think it was a Monet that was like as big as that back wall. It was massive. It was amazing, mind-blowing. You hire these little electric bikes and they take you around the whole island everywhere and you just hop on, hop off and go through all these galleries. It's like Mona, if you've been to Tassie, on an island. Like the whole island's like galleries. It's amazing. Naoshima. Yoku dekimashita. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. And we are ready to start again. So thank you all for your patience. And next print, please. This print scores 78. Can I get a comment from Matt, please?
Yeah, I think this has really been well seen. The chandelier and the background, I think, is actually like a painting or something like that on the wall, as opposed to the actual, surroundings. And the edge of, the light kind of hints at that. However, if there was a bit more shadow detail, and especially in the bottom half, it would help communicate that and also lift it just in general.
Thanks, Matt. And next print, please. This print scores a silver award, 80. And Christian, would you like to make a comment?
The idea is well executed. The colour palette with the blue in the actual picture he's holding is a bit of a contrast, but still sort of works as an old to the new. The proudness of his pose I enjoy. I just feel that there's maybe a little over vignetting that might sort of not be needed. Yep.
Great, and thank you for that comment. We're actually going to do a very quick judges change. Christian, thank you. And Dean, we'll have you back. Great, and next print, please. Print scores 77. And can I please get a comment from Matt on 76?
Yeah, I think it's a professionally captured moment, and there is some interest in there. In terms of improving it, maybe bringing the camera to the left a little bit would help you both separate some of the figures, but also would remove the top left corner where that sky is coming through as a bit of a distraction.
Great, thank you. And next prints, please. Print score 75. Can I get a comment, please, from Karen?
Yeah, the image itself is telling the story of this person, but just the framing could be improved. So bottom right, there's the bit of the deck that we see. She's not exactly framed in the archway, so that's sort of off-putting. And I think the clouds have been pushed a bit too far, but yeah, well done, professional practice.
Thanks, Karen. And next print, please. Print scores, Silver Award 80. Dean, could I hear a word about how they might improve?
Congratulations in capturing a beautiful moment here. I loved the little detail of Mum holding tissue. Well, it looked, I think, were tissues in her hands. It really helped to tell the story of the emotion on the day. So well done. I think the cropping through the painting at the top and through the plant on the right-hand side were kind of jarring for me. So, you could crop them even more extreme and come right in a bit closer, perhaps, and that would alleviate some more distractions on the right. So the moment's so good, let's make that the real hero.
Great. Thank you so much, Dean. And next print, please. So by the average, the print scored 78. However, by majority, this print is a silver award at 80. Congratulations. And once again, for anybody listening at home, what that means is 3 of our 5 judges believe that it deserves a silver award, which is why it gets the score of 80. Now, Matt, would you like to make a comment, please?
Yeah, I saw it on the silver level purely for the strength of the storytelling, and that, I love the hand coming in from the left to kind of give depth to the scene and involve us as a person and a viewer. Also, the warning sign on the jumping castle and the rock underneath it, even more importantly, kind of tell a story of what could have possibly gone wrong. But it is quite comedic, and I think had it been a bit sharper in terms of using maybe a faster shutter speed and making sure your focus was bang on, I think a couple other judges might have joined us a bit higher as well.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 77. Can I get a comment from Matt, please?
Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I think that there was a lot of good things that could have been going here. The use of the groom in terms of shadow is very clever, but it just, in terms of the design of the photograph, just building in that connection between the two people rather than her looking away from the groom, and her dress is taking you away from the groom as well. So just a few design considerations.
Great, thank you. And we're going to do a judges change. Karen, I'm going to give you a break, and Fiona Hannabury is going to step in. Great, and next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores Silver Award 83. I'm going to ask for a comment from Fiona, please.
I was very happy with this in the professional practice. These champagne pops are common at weddings and we see them quite often. So the moment was anticipated. The photographer had time to choose their shutter speed and everything, but the expressions on the bridal party are brilliant, and congratulations.
Thank you, Fee. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores a Silver Award 81. Matt, can I get a comment, please?
Yeah, it's a well-designed photograph in terms of the composition and using the building to maximum effect. I think it could go a little bit higher just in the treatment of the shadow areas, especially where you've got the symbolic references on the right-hand side there. But I think beautiful moment there, and the emotion is there too, which is the most important thing.
Thanks, Matt. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 78. I would like a comment from Fiona, please.
Lovely image, well seen, well captured. I would have liked to have seen better tones in the highlights.
Thanks, Fee. And next print, please. This print scores 76. I'd like a comment from Jacinta, please.
Yeah, very interesting capture. Just a few distracting elements like the tree coming out of the back of the bride's head there, and then the structure on the right-hand side of the groom, and the highlight in the veil. So just something to revisit, and maybe lighting the faces more rather than the actual bride's veil.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. Print scores 78. I'd like a comment from Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the photographer's done a great job of identifying and capturing these moments here. And I think that this will become an important photograph to the client in future. But just in terms of bringing it high would be to resolve those stories in a bit of a simpler way so that we can concentrate on those and not be distracted by all the elements in the background.
Great, thank you. And next print, please. Print scores 77. Andrew, I'd love to hear what you've got to say.
Thank you. Beautiful image. Would have loved to have seen a little bit more happening in the gorgeous kiss that's happening smack in the middle of that print. There's so much emotion in that. The blacks have been sort of handled, but they're a little bit too heavy. And also the back part of the dress where in the posterior area, it could have been worked a little bit more on the highlights to deliver it well. But there's a few elements missing here, but otherwise a beautiful image.
Thanks, Andrew. And next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 77. Can I get a comment, please, from Dean?
I think compositionally they're competing a little bit with the angles and lines going everywhere. It looks quite busy. They're not really tied into their environment. We've got a beautiful moment between two people here, which is to be commended, and that's why we've put it in the professional practice range. And there's some positives to be drawn out of the print. But I think there's a lot of leading lines down the flowy dress down to the bottom of nowhere, which isn't really adding to the story for us. So another look at composition cropping could help.
Thank you. And next print, please. This print scores 75. Can I get a comment, please, from Fiona?
Beautiful tones, beautiful moment. Would have liked to have seen a bit more emotion.
Thanks. And next print, please. This print scores a Silver Award 82. And Dean, would you like to make a comment? Hold on.
I think this is a very successful portrait. It's delivered to us in a very quirky way, and I think we all read into that. We've got a very quirky character, so what better way to tell the story of his personality? So yeah, absolutely applauded. Well done for a Silver Award.
Thank you. And I believe that is the end of the wedding category. Thank you to Epson and to Nikon, our wonderful sponsors, and thank you to the lovely judging panel that we have had today. Thanks, guys. And to the amazing helpers we have out the back.